The Lego Batman movie is the second Lego film that Warner Brothers has brought to the screen, the first being the Lego Movie. This one is directed by Chris McKay and stars Will Arnett, Rosario Dawson, Michael Cera, Ralph Fiennes, Zach Galifianakis, Jenny Slate. The list goes on. This cast is packed. So, the reason this movie works so well is because it is exactly what it needs to be and what everybody kind of wanted it to be when we walked into the theater. It is a hilarious, action, family-friendly film, and if we got that, we were going to be satisfied, and that's what we got, and then some. Let me start with the comedy in this movie, because what I noticed is that at this film's core, it's a comedy. That's what this movie ends up being. And it lands every single time. I was laughing very consistently throughout the entirety of this movie's runtime, which really helps in terms of the film's pacing. And as you're sitting there going, this isn't dragging, this isn't being rushed, if you're sitting there laughing consistently through the entirety of the runtime, no matter how long or short the movie is, and this is a relatively shorter movie, you're going to be entertained the whole time. And I was always laughing. The humor always lands, and it's very funny. And what's cool about this film is, it's oriented towards kids and adults, which is how animated movies should be, and how the golden age of Pixar, specifically in the US, showed us it could be. And unfortunately, that hasn't been happening too much recently. When you look at movies like Minions and some of the more recent Pixar movies, because they're sort of not leaning towards adults anymore. They're sort of going back to just being for kids. It's really cool to have a movie like this give you that breath of fresh air, specifically for adults and young adults, and give them some comedy and some movie that they can enjoy, because that's an animated movie's goal should be to appeal to everyone, and the comedy in this movie does just that, because this film almost becomes a spoof movie, and not just of Batman, it becomes a spoof movie of film all around. You can tell that Chris McKay and the team of writers he has genuinely gives a shit about movies and the content that they were working with, because the way they poke fun at everything is very funny. It feels like a Phil Lord and Christopher Miller movie, where they're just poking fun at everything, and they know how ridiculous things are, but they don't just let it slide. They tell you, they show it to you through comedy, and that's done consistently and very well through this movie. The action was great. It was actually very enthralling. It's very fast-paced, which is very cool, and it keeps you into the movie. It's intriguing, it's interesting. You're always looking at something visually appealing, which not only comes from the action, that also helps to be coming from the animation, because the animation in this movie is beautiful. They sort of took what was a little shaky about the Lego Movie's animation, and they fix it coming into this movie. This movie does feel like a step up from the Lego Movie in terms of animation. While the Lego Movie still looks great, this one, it took the things that didn't work in that movie, and it elevates them to the point where it goes, okay, that looks a lot better. For instance, something I noticed was water. Water hurt my eyes in the Lego Movie, and this one they decide there's not really a way to make that work 100% with Legos, we're going to animate it, but it doesn't matter because it looks good with the rest of the film, with the color palette and the way everything is edited. It looks good. It doesn't look out of place. Batman is a character in this movie, which is a large thing that it does well. It doesn't just say, well, this is a comedy, action, family movie. We don't have to build characters. We don't have to develop characters. These characters don't have to have arcs. No, they do the opposite. Specifically with Batman, they make Batman a character, which is really nice to see, because Bruce Wayne and Batman is a character. Right before I saw the Lego Batman movie, I watched The Dark Knight, so it was a very interesting contrast. And you can see that they give a shit about Batman, and they build him as a character, and they kind of do that with all of the characters in this movie. Alfred becomes a character, Barbara Gordon becomes a character, Michael Cera becomes a character. They're not just props in this movie simply used for laughs. They are developed throughout the entirety of the film, and they have a purpose for being there, which is what the writers really did well. The voice cast was fantastic. They all fit their roles very well. Zach Galifianakis as the Joker for this kind of movie was the perfect choice. I was obviously a little skeptical when I first heard about that, but he fits so well into what this movie is trying to do that it didn't bother me at all. The two that really stood out to me as doing a great job, aside from Will Arnett, because, coming into this, we all knew he was going to be great. We saw it in the Lego movie. Ralph Fiennes and Michael Cera both really stood out to me as doing a great job in this. Ralph Fiennes really fits as Alfred. I thought he had the vocal inflection to do that, and the way he sort of delivered his lines, specifically the comedic lines. It was a side of Ralph Fiennes I don't really think I've seen aside from the Grand Budapest Hotel. So it was kind of cool to see him do this role, and I really liked him. And Michael Cera is kind of the one in this movie that I totally forgot was Michael Cera. Everyone else, there were times, like Ralph Fiennes, as good as he was, I knew that was Ralph Fiennes. I totally forgot Michael Cera was playing Robin. He did a great job being this little kid, and this just over-the-top, very, leechy kind of kid. I really liked that from Michael Cera, but everyone does a great job. Rosario Dawson is great. Zach Galifianakis, like I said, is great. Even Jenny Slate, with the little amount of screen time she has. It's funny because they really drove home the cameos in this movie in terms of celebrities, and even characters that have 1 to 2 lines have very popular actors and actresses behind them. Look up the IMDb page for this movie after you see it. It's very interesting. I only have a couple of minor problems with this movie, and I'm really not going to get into many of them because it's not worth getting into. They don't really take away from the movie. There are a couple of cheesy moments that happens with kids' movies because kids love the cheese. Kids love cheesy humor. They're, like I said, they're trying to appeal to multiple different audiences. I'm fine with them having a couple of moments of cheesy humor. The only thing I walked out of being like, that stood out to me, they do squeeze a pop song in this movie. I really don't like when movies do that. I really do think it kind of takes you out of the movie. But, what can you... It's not on screen for a very long time, but it does pop up, and it's a little weird, especially considering all the music that they had done for this movie. Seemed as though it was originally written, which was very cool, and it was actually very funny. And then they throw in this fucking pop song. It was. I saw the trailer for the Lego Ninjago movie before this, which I didn't have any interest in seeing until I saw the trailer, and this movie. And I was getting really into that trailer. It looked really good, and then they start playing Bad Blood, and I was instantly like, ugh, fuck, like they were doing so well. But overall, despite little tiny problems I had with this movie, this film is a blast. It is a great theater experience. If you're a parent, take your kids. If you're a grandparent, take your grandkids. If you're just a young adult or an adult and want to go see it by yourself, go see it by yourself. I was in a packed theater of plenty of people by themselves, plenty of people with families, plenty of people with friends. This movie appeals to everyone. I highly recommend going to see the Lego Batman movie and just enjoy it. If you love the Lego movie, you're going to love this movie. I'm very excited to see what Lego does next, aside from the Lego Ninjago movie. I'm interested to see what they'll grab and put into movies. Or if they run out of ideas, maybe Warner Brothers will go, okay, these people have a name for themselves. My phone is ringing right now. Maybe we'll do something original. Hold on. Anyway, guys, I highly recommend the Lego Batman movie. So, what do you think? Did you see the Lego Batman movie? Did you not see the Lego Batman movie? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.